the cherry orchard swaying beetles buzz over the cherries. Today, we are starting a new format where I will be sharing interesting business facts. I'm Plumbing. My first job, which I completed for $5,000 in 2 days. And you will want to buy some equipment, do more work, and develop further. Why exactly do you need to have a DBA? And this will approximately cost you between $3,000 to $5,000. The only source where I got leads and where I found clients. It was very difficult, but I did it, and the clients were satisfied. They had no problems with me. That is, all my work operates 3, 4, 5 times cheaper than what large companies do. I will tell you how this will help you in the future. The cherry orchard, the buzzing beetles over the cherries, the plowmen go with their plows. The family is having dinner. The evening star rises. The daughter serves dinner, and the mother wants to teach, but the nightingale does not allow it. Hello everyone. Today we are starting a new format where I will be sharing interesting facts about business, or ideas on how to start your own business. And the first topic today will be the top 5 areas in plumbing in which you can develop. Why 5? Because you can start in many different ways. Plumbing is one word like IT, but when you enter IT, there are probably 50 directions. I don't know. In plumbing, there are 5 directions. And as a bonus, there will be a 6th. That's why the topic is titled Top 5 Plumbing Directions in the USA. So let's start from the beginning. You are a person who has come to America, knows a little English, at least with a translator, and you want to start your own business. Or you are an American who was born, lives in the USA, works and wants to start your own business. I will give you ideas and thoughts on how you can do this and what you need for it. You can start a plumbing business in the USA with $1,000 in your pocket. If you have $1,000, you can start this business. Then off we go. First, this is service and repair. That is, it's repair. When you repair plumbing, what do you need for this? First, you need to already have some kind of vehicle. If you live in America, you can't do without a car here. So I assume you already have this. Some kind of vehicle, a truck, just a car, but you have it. Second, tools. If you have some tools, great. If not, you can buy them. They don't necessarily have to be professional tools. Milwaukee, for many thousands of dollars. You can go to Harbor Freight Tool and buy inexpensive tools like Ryobi. You can go on eBay and generally get a used or open box tool very cheaply. And this will cost you a maximum of $400, and you will buy yourself tools. The next step is advertising. Advertising is a very important factor. If you have a car, have tools, but no clients, money won't appear from nowhere. So what do? First, go to Blue Book, join various groups where people communicate, ask questions, and you talk about your services, that you do plumbing. You do it inexpensively. You register on Craigslist and advertise. It seems to cost $5 now. Thank you. I started my journey precisely with Craigslist. That is, Craigslist. It was the only source from which I got leads and where I found clients. So Craigslist is still active. And you also build a reputation and create platforms for yourself like Thumbtack in some regions and Screwbit and other platforms for handymen. You can take jobs here and invest money there, because without this you won't get anywhere. And you have $100 left and you keep $100 to register the business. You go to your city, fill out the paperwork, and it costs up to $100, and you get a doing business as DBA. And with this name, I recommend you register and obtain this name, because you will appear more credible and register on platforms. You will have an official business, and this will greatly help you in the future. And I will tell you how this will help you in the future. So you register with the DBA, open a bank account, issue official invoices, and do your work. After that, once you start doing some work, having completed 1.2, You also register for insurance. Liability insurance, it will cost you between $60 to $90 per month. So, if something happens on the site, the client is protected. And your insurance will cover the mistakes you made. It's better if there are none, and we all aim for that, but this is a starting point. Now, prices. How are prices formed? I couldn't set the prices probably more than 4 years to say exactly this. I know, great, here are the prices, they work. It's very difficult because you are competing with the same people who come and do it cheaply. That is, you will be doing it 3, 4, 5 times cheaper than the big companies do. And this way you will build a client base, reputation, and skills on how to do it. For example, when my first client and my first job when I came, and I needed to change the mixer, the faucet on the sink. I was looking from all angles and I couldn't see how it was assembled. No matter what I did, no matter how I tried, I couldn't disassemble anything. I took a saw and cut it off, and then I realized it was an American standard and it just unscrewed. The handle came off and there was access to disassemble it. That was my way. I didn't know much about how things work here in America. It was very difficult, but I managed. And the clients were satisfied. For example, a job that was supposed to take me 30 minutes, I could do it in 3 hours. But I charged minimal money for this work, so I did it very cheaply. If you are ready for such sacrifices to start moving forward, then this is for you, and let's say, welcome to the world of plumbing. After you have all this and start having your first clients, you register yourself on Instagram or Google My Business, and you can do what you can do and move forward. Why do you need to have a DBA? Because when I opened my company and I had a DBA, Handyman Plumbing UA, I signed it that way, legally. You can do up to $1,000 per client per day for work and materials in California. At the time when I started, it was $350. Then it increased to $500. And today it is $1,000. Work with materials from the client. This is what you can officially do without a license, 100%, legally. Therefore, you can use this to do small jobs up to $1,000 from a client. Edba. Why is this important? Because a year or a year and a half will pass and you will want to buy some equipment, do more work, develop, and for this you will need to take a loan. If you don't have 2 years, the business history, no one will give you loans. The loans will be something like 40-50% annually. Of course, no one can afford that. Therefore, if your business is not 2 years old, you won't be able to take a loan. Therefore, I recommend opening an LLC, incorporated, at least a DBA. It costs only $100. Please take advantage of it. And the next step will be drain service. This is when you simply clean the drains. You don't need a license for this either. But you will need quite expensive equipment. Here you won't manage with just $1,000. What do you need for this? A regular car won't be suitable for you. You will need a truck or a van. By the way, I started with a Chrysler Town & Country. I bought it at an auction for $2,600. And until it overheated on the freeway, I drove it. So I had such a story. After you start your drain service, business. It's a good direction to go and develop. You need a small snake, a large snake, and this will cost you approximately from $3,000 to $5,000. Then you need a hydrojet. You can start with a small hydrojet, which will cost $3,000 to $5,000, and then you can buy a larger one, which will cost $40,000, $60,000. These are Spartan, Hot Jet USA, by the way. I have a Hot Jet, USA, and US Jetter. These are the 3 main brands I know. Here they are quite popular in California. So from these jobs, you can already earn, you can do more work and earn more money. But by law, you can only do snaky drainage. You cannot do major repairs because you do not have a license. To do something more, you need a license. But it's a very good way to start working. If you have no experience in plumbing, you will arrive and there will be some jobs you cannot do and you won't charge the client anything. You spend 2-3 hours or so, you acquire experience, but you won't know how it, you will know how it works, what you can do and what you cannot. And little by little you will learn. I did a lot of jobs that took me 4, 5, even 7 times longer. And you might say, oh, I can't do it, it's not working for me, and just give up saying, no, this isn't for me. Or you can keep going. Work for free, work at a loss, not give up, but continue and achieve results. So this is only for those who are ready to keep going. First, don't give up. If you are afraid of difficulties, then this business is not for you. It is very challenging, a very challenging business. Running a company is very difficult as you have people, clients, people, employees, people, management, and it's all about people. Everything is related, and it's necessary for all people to understand each other well, to love and understand each other. And that's difficult. It's a lot of work with people. So that's my opinion and that's my advice. Next, the fact that you can start without a license, it's 50-50. It will be difficult for you, depending on the state. In California, depending on who you work with which contractors, it's possible this is residential remodel. That is when private homes are being renovated and you do the plumbing there. What do you need for this? You need a truck or a van. Perhaps you can do it with a car or a minivan. A minivan would, of course, be better. That is, I did such work with a minivan. Then you need hand tools. And that's approximately what you will need. $500, $700, something substantial. You can take overland if you need to. And in this case, the contractor's license will cover you. And what does it provide you with? The contractor, it will cover all your shortcomings in front of the client that you have with the license. That is, you can also do small remodels, meaning small jobs, work with the contractor, and if something happens, the contractor will be responsible for it. That is, the contractor agrees that he will pay you a little less than he would in a licensed contract, but he takes on the risks for your work, depending on the state. It's different in different states, but this is a path you can start. Where to find clients? Go where renovations are happening, where contractors are working, in stores, meet people. Here it's all about personal connections. When I started, it was very difficult for me to find clients at the edge of the letter, but I wrote my advertisement in such a way that it was interesting to contractors if they are looking. And my first contractors who gave me work, I found exactly at the edge of the letter. They gave me work and I did plumbing under their license at their sites. So this gave me opportunities. I charge very cheaply. At this stage, if I recall the prices, they are even laughable. There were prices, but it gave me experience. I learned, I studied, and I earned enough money to at least feed my family. That is, in my stages at the beginning, when I started doing this, I earned from $2,000 to $3,000 a month, working 14, 16 hours a day. Why was it so little and took so long? First, I didn't know English. Second, I didn't know the prices. Third, I didn't know how it worked, and it took me a lot of time to figure out how this or that system works and how to do it. But the contractors loved me because I did everything and never left anything unfinished. They had no problems with me, meaning all my work functioned and clients never called them about my work. And of course, they would call back and order work from me again. And there was an instance when I did a job incorrectly. The sewage system didn't work. At my own expense, I could have turned around and left and done nothing about this client. Since I don't have a license, he couldn't take me to court. He couldn't do anything to me. Nothing at all. He had no influence over me. But I am an honest person, Sanders. I broke up the floor, dug it up, repaired the connection that I had done incorrectly, filled it in, compacted the soil, concreted everything, hired a professional tiler, paid him whatever he asked, and did everything correctly. The client had no more questions after that regarding my work. So, when you make mistakes, be ready to take responsibility for them and fix them if you did something wrong. Therefore, residential remodeling is a good option, is to start with. If you are an immigrant, connect with other immigrants who are doing renovations, and you will come to an agreement with them in the same language. They will sell you jobs. If you are a local American and you live here, friends, acquaintances, you have contractors, go and communicate through friends, acquaintances, say, here I do this, I can do this, I can do that. But you cannot approach a contractor when you haven't done anything. You need to have some experience. You need to change some cornices. You need to do something small and gain experience. If you have the opportunity to go work for a plumbing company, half a year, 2 years, it will be much better. But there is a big chance that you will start earning some money. And it will be very difficult for you to go back to the point where you earn less but work twice as much as for a salary. And this is what awaits you when you start working for yourself. That is, you need to understand that business is not when you come and earn more. Business is when you start, you work more and earn less. But you learn, you gain experience, and you move forward. And in the future, you develop and achieve some success. The fourth step is you already need to have a license. And to have a license, there are three options on how to open a business and have a license. Option number one is you pass the license exam, have experience, work for 4 years, pass the license exam. And after that, you can start your own business. In California, in other states, it works differently. The second option, hire a person who has a license, and this is called a responsibility manager officer. This is a person who owns 20% of the company when you open a corporation. They own 20% of this company. They put their name and they put their license. Every person who has a license has the right to own a 20% share in 5 companies. That is, they can have 5 completely different licenses with different numbers and completely different companies and manage all these companies. So this is option number 2. And option number 3 is to hire an employee with a license. They must work 60% of a full-time position. Are they employed with you on a salary? And that's why it's called a responsibility manager employee. This is an employee who works for you and covers your company with their license. So there are 3 such options. And to enter this field, you need a license. Okay, this is commercial TI. When one business moves out, another business moves in, and a remodel is needed. This is a separate direction. And if you choose it, you develop in this way. What does this direction offer you? That is, there are contractors with whom you get acquainted, 1, 2, 3 contractors, and they can keep you fully occupied because they have projects, you work with them, and they constantly provide you with work. You don't spend money on advertising, but you need workers' comp, you need liability, you need auto insurance, meaning you need absolutely all the insurances. And this will cost a fair amount of money. To start a business in commercial TI, you will need at least $10,000 to begin. With a smaller amount, it might be possible, but much more difficult. But if you have a lot of experience, you already have the tools because you've worked in this field and you're starting this business, it's possible. Finding clients, the main thing is to go and talk to people. And where is the construction? You go in and meet the person, tell them about yourself, give me a chance to run through. There are platforms like Blue Book, the Blue Book, where you can register and where jobs are posted. There are, I don't remember right now, but if you go online, there are many platforms where contractors look for subcontractors. And you can get to know them, communicate, interact, give quotes, and start working. But be prepared that your first jobs might result in a loss. That's why you need 10,000. Because you might miscalculate, not know the prices, not know how it works, and it will be a bit challenging. But in this direction, you can scale the company commercially and focus solely on commercial work, allowing you to grow and build a very large company. That is, it is much easier to scale. Work is ongoing, you hire people, develop managers, and the business grows. That is new. It is more stable. And when you sell the business, the multiplication in residential goes, I am 1 for 3. as if 1 to 3. The multiplication in business goes 1 to 5. That is, they will pay much more for your business if you work with business. But the margin there is quite small. That is, the earnings there are not very high, but there are volumes and they can be scaled. And the fifth and sixth options, I put them together. And this is the direction in which I am moving. I have been working towards this for more than 5 years. I started with service, remodel, drain service, commercial TI. I went through all these stages, did them, and even to this day I still do. But now my main focus is sewer and epoxy pipelining. That is everything related to TLSR, where we replace the sewer without digging using various methods. Here, you will need to spend from $10,000 a month on advertising. With less, it will be difficult for you to compete and move forward because these are jobs that all service companies want to take. And they are being pursued by all possible means. When you see ads like drain snaking for $79, $49, where the real cost of this work to be profitable is $300, $350. It's just because people want to get in, you have a sewer problem. They want to enter the house, take a look, and have the opportunity to sell you a job for 10, 20, 50, 60,000. So they will do 4 or 5 sewer cleanings at 79, take one job, and it will cover all these expenses. So when you see an advertisement for $79 and you call a plumber, he is not going there to clean your sewer. He is going there to sell you a job. His goal there is not to solve your issue. His goal there is to make money off you. So do not expect, though, that this will be an honest person. Do not expect, though, that you will be told the truth in this situation. They will tell you how bad the sewer is, how it will break tomorrow, and that you need to fix it today, that it won't even hold until tomorrow. So be very careful. It's quite a difficult path. There are many who want and wish to go here. But why is it interesting? Because the margin can be 50% on such jobs. That is, the earnings on such jobs are much higher. It's a big check. That is an interesting job. My first job that I did for $5,000 in 2 days. So it was me, there was an assistant. There was a job for $5,000 to replace the sewer under the house. We worked there for 2 days. For materials, I spent $400, and I also paid my assistant $400. So I earned $4,000 in 2 days on the sewer job. That was my first such experience. Wow, $4,000 in 2 days. That's why it's interesting in this direction. A lot of companies are moving in this direction. It's very competitive and very difficult to break in. But for this, you need a license, you need workers' comp, you need all the documents. And in order to develop and scale your business, choose the direction that suits you best. Set a goal. Choose an audience, because if you try to develop in different directions, you'll just burn out. It will be unrealistic. Choose one direction, grow to a certain level, and then choose another, a third, a fifth, a 10th direction. For example, when I started, I knew nothing about plumbing. And when I would arrive and try to unclog the plumbing and it wouldn't work out, I would say, call a company that deals with plumbing. So they are looking for this, and I arrive and can't do anything. I say call because at that moment, I can't come to someone's house and say, I need to tear apart your bathroom, break the kitchen, dig up half the house, and break the plumbing. I couldn't even think about it. So it's a moral barrier that you need to overcome in order to do this work. And it will be difficult, and not everyone can do it, and it takes time. So choose the options that suit you and start your own plumbing business. 50% will survive. 50% will give up and go nowhere, and 10% will build great companies. That's my perspective on plumbing. In the 10 years I've been in plumbing, I've seen many companies plastered with advertisements, big ones. They come in, spend money on all this, and after a year or two, you no longer see these people near the stores. That's because they sold, moved on to do something else, and took down the advertisements. So, when someone tells you that if you're starting in plumbing, you should plaster your car with advertisements and spend $5,000 on it, you don't have clients. It's better to spend those $5,000 on advertising. You'll have more clients and a better chance to grow. And once you've achieved something, then you can take the next step. Kone. So, thank you for your attention. If you found this interesting, subscribe, ask questions, comment. This really helps YouTube so that more people can see and learn. And maybe my story will interest someone and you will achieve success in your business. So I wish everyone all the best, success, and never give up. See you in the next video.